Hi, my name is Hal Turner, and up until July 30th of this year, I hosted one of the most controversial radio shows anywhere on planet Earth through my website, halturnershow.com. At the end of July, I was under so much pressure from the media, special interest groups, and the federal government that I just couldn't sustain the show anymore. They used every tactic possible to get me off the air because I was revealing information that they didn't want the public to know. Earlier this week, I published on my blog spot, which is halturnershow.blogspot.com, a story that the United States government shipped 800 billion Ameros to the China Development Bank in preparation for the collapse of the United States dollar as a currency. A lot of people around the world visited my blog. Many were astonished that this claim was being made, and a lot of people thought it was a hoax. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it wasn't a hoax. I have one of the Ameros from that shipment. This is an Amero. Now, hopefully the camera can zoom in enough so that you can see the face of the coin. And now I'm going to turn it around so that you can see the reverse of the coin, because the reverse is really important. It says Union of North America along the top. It's got an eagle. Here it says 20 Ameros. The number 20 is down here. North America, the map, a highlighted relief of North America is in the center. Big A on this side, and what's most important, right down here below the A, I hope you can see it, is the letter D. Let's see if I can get up and show you that a little bit. Maybe we can bring the camera in closer. We're looking for the little letter D in the bottom below the A. That indicates that this coin was minted at the Denver Mint in Denver, Colorado. And what's even better is on the front, at the bottom, look at the year. This was minted in 2007. And I'm going to sit back down and I'm going to bang this coin on the table here so you can hear that it's actually a metal coin. This is one of the Ameros that was destined for the China Development Bank. And the reason this Amero currency has been shipped to China is because China presently holds about $2.5 trillion, with a T, $2.5 trillion in U.S. cash, thanks to our trade imbalance with China. Governments around the world now understand that the U.S. dollar is going to become worthless. It's going to get exhausted as a currency simply because the United States federal government is spending so much money that it has to borrow 80 to 90% of the savings from around the entire planet in order to fund its deficit spending. Governments around the world know that this cannot continue, and that probably within 6 months, I'd say, maybe by February of 2009, the United States dollar as a currency is going to collapse. In anticipation of that, the government of the United States has begun making a new currency, the Amero. They plan on merging the United States with Canada and Mexico. And this Amero currency will replace the US dollar, the Canadian dollar, and the Mexican peso. Those of you who thought that my report about Ameros being shipped to China would do well to take a good hard look at this coin. This is irrefutable proof that shenanigans are afoot at the highest levels of the U.S. government, the Canadian government, and the Mexican government. Let me explain to you what's going to happen, how the U.S. dollar is going to collapse. At some point, the amount of money that the United States of America owes and the interest charged on that money will be unserviceable. We will reach a point where there won't be enough money in the entire federal budget to just pay the interest on the money we've borrowed. On the day that that happens, the Treasury Secretary of the United States will declare a force majeure, a force greater than they can control. And when that happens, that is going to be a repudiation of the United States debt. Now, most citizens will have no idea what it means when the Treasury declares a force majeure. But all the bankers are going to know, and the stock markets are going to know, and everybody around the world is going to try to dump their US dollars. Within a matter of days, the US dollar is going to be worthless because nobody around the world wants it. And when that happens, the Treasury Secretary will then demonetize the dollar. And what that means is that the dollar will no longer be money. So any of us that have any assets in dollars, savings accounts, checking accounts, IRAs, 401ks, other types of pension plans, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, anything that's denominated in dollars will no longer be money. And a whole bunch of us will be instantly destitute, broke, busted. And the government is hoping that there's enough panic in the general populace so that they can come out and say, look, the only way you can possibly hope to get any of your hard-earned money back is if you accept this Amero as currency. And we'll give you, 2 cents on the dollar for what you used to have. Ladies and gentlemen, what we have in the works here is the most elaborate robbery, the biggest incident of looting in the history of the world. And the plan is that everybody who's a middle-class person, average, common working person, gets taken for all their money and is forced to accept pennies on the dollar for this new Amero currency. They're bringing army units home from Iraq in case civil unrest breaks out, and it will, rightfully so. But I'm telling you this because I want you to know what the government's planning. They may have destroyed my radio career, but they haven't been able to shut me up. The only way you can protect yourself from this is to have quantities of gold and silver bullion. And I'm not talking about big quantities, just, get what you can afford. But more importantly, open foreign bank accounts. Wire as much money in US dollars as you can over to those foreign accounts and tell the foreign banks that you want the US dollars converted to their currency. So instead of US dollars, maybe you'll have British pounds, or maybe you'll have Swiss francs or French francs. I wouldn't advise going into the euro because the euro is not backed by anything and is not backed by anyone. So it is also susceptible to this type of currency crash. Do the best you can to protect your assets, to protect your family, because God knows the money changers that Jesus Christ threw out of the temple 2,000 years ago, well, their descendants are still around, and they've got plans to loot every single one of us. Thanks for listening. I'm Hal Turner. Have a good day.